It looks like a pretty flower, but it's really one of Australia's worst weeds. It's called Lantana.
The place we call home. This remarkable, isolated continent houses some of the most unique flora and fauna on the planet. Australia has the highest number of reptilian species, with over 950 different skinks, monitors, snakes, etc. There are also over 826 different birds, 386 different mammalia, and so on. The majority of the taxon within Australia is solely endemic. They diversify all across the continent for every niche and ecosystem, fitting into their roles immaculately and creating a fragile community within. That's amazing, right? Although we have so many breathtaking endemic and non-endemic species, unfortunately, invasive species do make their way to places they shouldn't be, with or without our help. They wreak havoc over the native environment and rip up the delicate system everyone agreed to when evolving here. Hitching rides on cargo ships, planes, and sometimes even introduced by us from overseas, like the good old fox or Lantana camara you can find throughout the Australian coastal regions.
Lantana probably covers around 4 million hectares in Australia, covering along the 3,500 kilometres of the east coast of Queensland and New South Wales, but it's also been found in Northern Territory and Western Australia and in some places in Victoria. And as a total cost, it's probably about $22 million just in lost agricultural production. So that doesn't even begin to touch the cost to our natural ecosystems.
And here we have a wild
Lantana camara!
Lantana camara, also known as West Indian lantana, part of the Verbenaceae family, consisting of 4 other lantana species such as trailing lantana and zinnia. Lantana can be distinguished by its brightly coloured clustered flowers, sweet scent, and fruit to attract pollinators such as multiple different species of birds, bees, and butterflies. Unfortunately, lantana is an invasive plant, native to South America in the tropical and subtropical regions of the continent. However, once introduced to Adelaide Botanic Gardens in 1941, it then only took 20 years for the plant to be listed as a weed, taking over approximately 5 million hectares of Australian land, predominantly in southern New South Wales to northern Queensland.
Each year, a single lantana plant can produce up to 12,000 seeds. Its vibrant flowers attract pollinators like bees and butterflies, while its berries are eaten by birds, who then spread the seeds further. At first glance, lantana appears to support Australian wildlife. Dense thickets offer shelter to small birds like whitbirds, scrub wrens and fairy wrens, as well as ground-dwelling animals like bandicoots, wallabies and even pythons during daylight hours. Nectar-feeding species like the Richmond birdwing butterfly and honeyeaters are drawn to its flowers. In some areas, birds like silver eyes and satin bowerbirds rely on its fruit, and the black-breasted button quail has been observed using lantana thickets for both daytime foraging and nighttime roosting. As much as this is benefiting some of the wildlife of Australia, lantana is a highly invasive allelopathic species. It releases toxic chemicals into the soil, inhibiting the germination and growth of surrounding plants. This gives it a powerful competitive edge over native flora, threatening over 1,400 native Australian species, in particular the eucalyptus tree. The eucalyptus tree is an Australian native plant that is crucial for the survival of koalas, providing them a habitat and nutrition. Lantana is also a fast-growing plant, taking over large areas of land. Along with its thin, woody stems, its presence contributes to the frequency and intensity of bushfires in the dry rainforests of Australia.
The bushland is just being choked. And look at the vine and lantana through all of this. And this is hundreds and hundreds of kilometres of it, just locally, and it just goes on forever.
Since 1914, it has been a battle to maintain the infestation of Lantana camara. Over 30 biological control agents have been introduced, carefully selected to target the invasive weed without harming native species. Among the most effective are Teleonemia scropulosa, a sap-sucking bug that weakens the plant from within, Uroplata gerardi and Octotoba scrabri-penis, both toothed leaf mining beetles, and Ophiomyia lantanae, a seed-feeding fly that interrupts the plant's reproductive cycle. These natural enemies have helped slow Lantana's spread in certain regions, however, nowhere near to eradicating it. Biological control alone is not enough, and to tackle this invader once and for all, other available control techniques are necessary. Chemical control such as herbicides have proven to be effective also, however, it also has its downside. Herbicides can contaminate the soil, potentially harming native plants, hence disrupting ecosystems. This method also has a hit or miss success rate. Pink-flowered lantana is quite easy to manage, while red-flowered varieties usually remain resistant to the treatment.
If we continue only with current practices, Lantana will likely continue to spread even further.
It spreads easily, it's vegetative spread, it's also spread by birds, and it just keeps coming back. There's no 100% kill control method for Lantana.
In the meantime, biological control should be continued, expanded and better adapted to target regional variation. Herbicide use must also be improved, with precision targeting to minimise damage to surrounding ecosystems. More community-based events should be encouraged. Further knowledge about this plant and how to reduce the spread can and should be acquired. Education programs in schools, support for local land care groups, and incentives for landholders can strengthen these efforts. A comprehensive long-term program could be made in association with the government to combat this threat, not just removing Lantana, but restoring native ecosystems in its place. Daily efforts could be made to locate, identify, and treat the weed, paired with post-removal monitoring and replanting with native species. Lantana may appear a lovely garden flower, but its impacts are anything but. It's killing our native plants, altering our ecosystems, and continuing to spread fast. The more we learn, the better we manage and ultimately remove this invasive threat.